welcome back to Saturday morning with the Quilting Corner. Today, as always, we will start with our subscriber spotlight. We have several of them to show you today. The first of which is Eleanor Davis. She is a customer of ours who comes in the shop and is super sweet. I've shown some things of hers in the past and, well, they're always good. But this one, I want to show it to you. She said, this one is called Cornrows, the pattern is, and she said she's not a fan of half square triangles, but she did it and, well, she said she's not a fan of piecing because all the all the blocks have to be the same size, and she says she's not trying to add stress to her life, so that's why she's not a fan of that. But she made this pattern, she made this quilt, and she made it for her granddaughter's friend as a memento of her trip to her house. So this was a memory for her to carry with her in years to come. She said she started it the week before I put out the video of what to make with your scraps. And she was doing the same pattern, but she started the week before me. She said she put a label on it. And she also, the block that is on the back with the girls' names was a picture that they colored on fabric. But she's blocked out the name because she didn't get the permission of the parents to put the name on there. So she's blocked out the name, but I'll show you that picture that they colored. It's super cute. So let's take a look at it. She did a great job. Another one we are going to show you today is Robin Johnson, and she is in Prattville, just right here, I don't know, 20 minutes below us. And she comes in the shop quite often and gets fabric, and she makes a lot of dresses and clothes for her grandkids. And she's made a dress for her granddaughter, and everything I've ever seen that she makes is beautiful. I mean, beautiful. Well, she bought some Christmas fabric last year and never made anything with it. So this year she did. And thankfully she had bought some extra fabric. You know how it is. And you know, you always want to buy extra fabric when you're making a quilt just in case something happens, you cut it wrong or whatever. Well, in this case, she didn't make the dress last year. So this year the granddaughter has grown some. So she needed extra fabric to go up a pattern size. So that's what she did. She had that extra fabric to make the pattern bigger, and that's what she did, and this is the dress. It's adorable. Let's take a look. We have one last subscriber for you. Her name is June Waltenberger, and she is from Indiana. I want to show you what she made. Now let's go to the backstory of this one. She came to visit us in September, the end of September, and she's ordered from us, and she ordered a construction crew kit, quilt kit. Her great-grandson loves construction, anything construction. So when she saw that kit, she wanted it for him. But she wasn't sure that she could do it. You see, she'd never quilted before. And she had hardly ever sewn. So she calls us on the phone, and Emily answers the phone, and Miss June proceeds to ask Emily questions and talking to her and all, and asked her, do you think I could do this? Do you think this is doable? And, you know, given that she'd not quilted, she'd not sewn, that kind of thing. And Emily said, well, yes, you can do it. And gave her the confidence to do it. So she tried it and she did it. And boy, did she excel. She excelled. Let me tell you, most people start, when they make a quilt, they start with blocks, squares, sometimes even half square triangles, whatever. But they start with something a little simple. And I say that it's simpler than a lot of other projects you can make with quilts. But Miss June didn't do that. She started with the Construction Crew quilt kit. And while, yes, there's others that are more complicated, but this is not one that I normally would have started with. Can she do it? Yes. Can anybody do it? Yes. Put your mind to it, do it, take your time with it, ask for help, whatever you need to do, anything is doable. So that's what Miss June did. She did this quilt, and it is adorable. His party was Saturday, and so she gave it to him at his birthday party. And well, let me just show it to you. I told you it was adorable. What a great job Miss June did. I am so proud for her. And well, let me just say, this is why we do what we do. This is exactly why we do what we do. We love inspiring other people and helping them and showing them that yes, you can do it. Not only in the world of quilting, in everything. If you put your mind to it, take it step by step, make little baby steps along the way. You can do it. You can do it. Well, so this is a prime example of why we do what we do and why we love what we do. Because now, not only does the great-grandson have a quilt from this, but Miss June has gained confidence, and now she's probably going to go on to do other projects. And well, buying that sewing machine for this quilt is not going to a waste. I feel sure she's going to make some more things. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you to all of you who have shared your pictures today of what you've been working on. We appreciate that. If you want to be a subscriber in next week's episode, all you need to do is send me some pictures or send me some information about whatever you've been gifted, whatever you're making, whatever you have that's been handed down generation after generation, just whatever it is that you want to show us, whether it's quilting or crocheting or knitting or any kind of craft, whatever, then send us some pictures at sewcharmingquiltshop@gmail.com, SEW charmingquiltshop@gmail.com, and we will include it in next week's episode. So for now, we're going to move on to what we have to do today. The day is moving on, and we need to move on as well. So let's go over to the sewing machine. Today's block is going to need several different pieces of fabric. So I've already cut my squares, and the first of which is a 4.5-inch square. And it's going to be my focal point of the square. So I wanted to get these characters. So I fussy cut these characters into the square, meaning the whole fabric had all these people, and I wanted to see what I wanted to focus on, and I wanted to focus on these. So I cut my 4.5-inch square around this. So I've got my 4.5-inch square. I'm going to set it to the side. Then I've got a piece 5.25-inch square, and I needed 2 of them. So I've got 2 5.25-inch squares. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them, leave them on top of each other just like this. I'm going to go from one corner to the other, and I'm going to subcut them like an X. So I'm going to take it, cut it this way, move this. I have to move my board because I'm sitting down. Take my corner to corner here and cut it that way. So what gives me is 4 sets like that, but really 8 because there's one underneath here too. So I've got 8 pieces that look like this. I'm going to put them to the side. I'm going to take my next piece, which is a 2 7/8 inch square, and I need 8 of these. So I've got 2, 4, and then 6, 8. And I'm going to line them up right on top of each other, and I'm going to cut them as well. But I'm only going to cut them one way. I'm not going to cut them the X like I did this one. I'm not cutting them both ways. So I'll line it up from one corner to the other corner, and I'll cut across there. And then I've got my triangles, set those aside. Take these other 4, line them up, and do the same thing. Corner to corner, cut across, and I've got those pieces. Then I need my background, and for mine, my background is white every time. You don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want to do, but mine are white, and I also need these to be 2 7/8. But on these, I need 16 of them. So I'm going to take them, and I've got them already cut into squares, 2 7/8 big. And then this time, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to cut them one way, not the X both ways, just one corner to corner. And then I'll move these to the side. I'll do the same thing with all the remaining white background squares, which started with 16. So by the time I get done, I'll start with 16 squares and I'll end with 32 half square triangles. I'm going to keep doing this until I get them all cut, and then we'll move on. Now that I've got them all cut, we're going to piece it together. So let me move this over here so you can see it better. I'm going to take my square in the middle, and this one, like the last one, was on point. This one is not on point. So I've just got my square setting straight like that. I'm going to take my green stripes, and I'm going to put them like this. And remember, when you cut them, some will be this way and some will be sideways, like that. So I'm going to line them up like I want them. I want my stripes up and down this way and side to side this way. So I've got that middle square set up. Then I'm going to take a white piece and I'm going to block this off and do the same thing all the way around it. So these will just make half square triangles, flying geese. So there's the start of my block. Then I'm going to take another of the green squares. This one will go this way because that stripe's going that way. And then the up and down stripes will go here. If you're not doing stripes, you don't have to worry about that. So that'll go there. Then I'm going to do the same thing again with these whites. Make them flying geese. It's not complicated, it's just a lot of pieces. So we will get it figured out here in just a second. Now we take our red piece and we're going to put one here and here, here, and here. But actually, I think I want my stripes going up and down. Okay, so I've got those. Now the other half of that triangle is going to be white. So we're just making half square triangles. You just break this down into blocks. These are flying geese, the greens. The reds are half square triangles. So that's going there. and that's going there. Get that string out of there. And then we're going to do the same thing again. So we'll take, let's see. That one there. Sideways there. Ooh, sideways. Sideways there. And there. We'll fill in with the white. You just got to think about this one as you're putting it together. It's not hard, it's just you got to think as you're doing it. And then we're going to do the same thing. We've still got the whites and the reds, so we're going to fill in these spots. So I'll take another one, and I'm just duplicating what you saw here. Then a white. I'll show you the whole block in just a second if you can't see it all right now. Fill in with the white. And that's your block. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move this over a little bit, and we're going to take it block by block. Turn our sewing machine on, and we'll go from this block, this block, this block, this block, all the way until we get that first row done. We'll do the same thing with the second row, same thing with that row, and we'll keep on going. So we're not going to look at it as a whole picture right now. We're going to look at it as a little block. That way it's easier to digest. So we're going to take this first block, which is right here, and we're going to sew it right sides together down this side at 1/4 inch. Everything in this block is 1/4 inch. I'm going to sew this first one. Then when I get it sewn, I'll take it over here to the ironing board, and I'll iron it open. So there's my first piece, and I'm going to put it right back there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the exact same thing with all of these half square triangles. I said I was going to take it row by row. I think I've just changed my mind. I'm going to do all my red and white pieces first. So I'll take all of these and turn them into half square triangles that are sewn together. So I'll do right sides together, stitch down this side here 1/4 inch, and then I'll iron it open and I'll put it right back here. I'm going to do all that for all these red pieces, and then I'll come back to you. Once you've sewn all your red and whites together like that, then we'll move on to the green and whites. We'll take one, and it's a flying geese unit. So we'll take this side, put it on top of this side, right sides together, and stitch down this side. Once I get done with that side, I'll iron it open, and then I'll stitch this side on. Line it up, and stitch down that side. Then when I iron that one open, I've got a flying geese unit. So I'll lay it there. I'll grab the next one. I'll do the same thing. Lay this side, right side together, lined up. Stitch down this side. You could chain piece them all and do them all at once, but I'm not going to because I've got my stripes going a certain way on the greens that I don't want to mess that up. So I'm gonna take this side, line it up, right sides together. Stitch down this side, iron it open, and then I'll do all the rest of these green ones like this, and then I'll come back to you. Now that we've got our reds and our green units sewn together individually, we're going to take them and sew them as units. So I'm going to take these two and sew them right sides together down this side. Line them up. I'll show you that again in a minute. And iron them open so that they look like this. So I've got these two pieces here. I'm going to flip this one on top of this one, line them up, and stitch down this side. Line them up, stitch a 1/4 inch. Iron it open. Now, for these two that I'm putting together on top of each other, I've ironed one seam going to the right and one seam going to the left so that they'll nest together better and flatter. So I'll take these two units now and fold them on top of each other, line that center seam up, and I'm going to pin it. Then I'm going to sew all the way down this side here. Then I'll iron it open. And my finished corner block will be like this. Set that there. I'll take the greens, and they're on top of each other like this, both pointing up. Flip it on top of each other. Line it up and sew down that long side. And I'll iron it open and then move on to the next. So I'll do the same thing with all of these units. So these two together, so these four together, just like I did those, and then we'll come back again. We now have all of our units sewn together like this. So all we need to do now is sew these rows together. So I'm going to take this red one to this green one and put them right sides together, line them up, and sew down that side. So I'm going to line those seams up and stitch a 1/4 inch. Then I'll iron it open. Now I'll add this last unit to it to make this the complete row. Line those seams up again. Stitch a 1/4 inch. Iron it open. And now I've got my first row done. I'll do the same thing with this middle row. Right sides together. Actually, I'm gonna iron this down a little bit. It's got a little bit of curl to that side of it. So I'll take this one and lay it on this one, right sides together. Stitch down that side. And iron it open. Do the same thing with this side. I'm making sure my points are going out. These points. Stitch this. Iron it open, and I've got my middle row. So I'm going to take these 2 rows and set them up to the side. I'm going to take these and sew these 3 together. Right sides together. Line up that seam. Iron it open, do the same thing with this one. And then I've got my bottom row. So now my rows are together. All I need to do is sew them together. So take my top one to my middle one, move this one to the side. I'll take my pins and I'll take my seams, line the seams up, roll them to the top, pin it. Do the same thing with these seams, and they should all line up. Line these seams up and line these seams up. Then I just sew down this line. Iron this unit open. Then I'll take this unit where it goes down here and flip it up. Do the same thing, line these seams up, and pin them at all the units, at all the sections where the seams meet. So you got one here, here, and here. Line them up, roll it up, line it up, roll it up, pin it, and then sew it. Make sure it stays lined up. And then when I pull it out, I will iron that part open. And our block will be complete. There's our block. So now we're going to take it over and square it up. Decided to bring my ruler over here instead. So I've got my block. All I need to do now is square it up. It needs to be a 12.5-inch block. I'm still using my Quilt in a Day ruler, which is the 12.5-inch ruler. You can use anything. You can use this right here. It doesn't matter. You can use anything to square it up. You can square it up by the mat. You can square it up by the ruler and the mat, however you need to do it. But I'm going to do it this way. I lay my ruler on the square and I put it to where I'm not going to lose my points. So I've got there, and that's about the best I'm going to do. So this is where I'm going to line it up. A lot of people worry about every little piece. I don't. I'm not going to stress the small stuff. To me, finished is better than perfect. And I'm not going to worry about if it's not exactly 100% perfect. If you do, you do you. Everybody's different. But me, I don't. So I've got these two sides lined up now, and all I need to do is clean these two sides up. And there you have the finished block. Again, this is just like the other ones. You can do it anyway. You don't have to do the Grinch. You can do all reds and whites, whatever you want to do. We have finished our block. Here it is, and we are ready to put it in with the other blocks so that we can, when it comes time, we can put our quilt top together. That is our 12.5-inch block. We are done with this block for today. We will move on to the next block and do that another day. Until next time, you guys like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your weekend. Enjoy what you're doing, and well, happy quilting!